location of your emergency?
Something is happening. Something happened in our house. We don't know what.
What is the address of the emergency?
1122.
What is the rest of the address?
Oh, Kings Road.
And tell me exactly what's going on.
One of the roommates has passed out, and she was drunk last night and she don't wake me up.
Okay.
Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night.
That heartbreaking audio was just part of a newly released 911 call that sparked the investigation into the 4 University of Idaho students, the ones who were found brutally stabbed to death back in November of 2022. And the accused killer is Bryan Kohberger, a grad student who lived not too far away from their off-campus apartment. He has pleaded not guilty. He's set to go to trial in August. And if he's found guilty right now, he's facing the death penalty in this case. And today we've received some new court documents in the case against Kohberger. And here to break down the latest from those filings and some of the bombshells in them, our Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas is here in studio. Cody, it's good to see you. Let's talk about this, especially this Amazon search. It's really revealing a lot.
Yeah, Julia, the state has actually now obtained a search warrant for Bryan Kohberger's Amazon click history, as they call it, pretty much all his history and things that he's bought, because they claim, the state, that they have evidence that shows that between March 20th and March 30th of 2022, remember that is a couple months before the murders happened that November, he purchased a knife just like this one, a K-bar knife. You see, it's big, it's hefty, a long blade on it, and again, this is up here, this little strap, that's where prosecutors say the DNA that they found was located from his, that pretty much puts him in the house that night of those.
Because the sheath was left behind.
The sheath was left behind, exactly. And now, the defense also asked the judge to exclude any of this Amazon data because they say the state is, quote, cherry picking some of the purchases, more so to kind of fit the narrative that this guy is the suspect. Now, of course, with any defense motion, the state has a response. So the state said, in part, quote, without any legal basis, the defendant claims the state cherry-picked specific clicks or purchases out of the Amazon click history. This is simply not true unless you consider seeking only items of evidentiary value cherry-picking. The defendant fails to show how this evidence is unfair, confusing, misleading, would cause delay, waste time, or would be cumulative. That is because it's none of those things. And all of this to say, Julia, the state pretty much asked that the judge rule that this Amazon data is relevant and admissible. And the defense also says that account that they pulled some of this evidence from is shared between Kohberger and his family members.
So trying to say we're not 100% sure that he's the one who made this purchase, perhaps. But it gets pretty specific, I'm assuming, and is it just a general knife that we know about, or does it actually say the same thing that we see in the search warrant for this knife?
It's absolutely the same exact K-bar knife, the same exact one, not just a big knife, not just a hunting knife, the K-bar knife with the United States Marine Corps logo on the sheath, and he also purchased a sharpener to go along with it.
Let's talk about
the state.
Bushy eyebrows. That was another subject of a new filing that was released. Tell me about that.
So, of course, we know that bushy eyebrow description comes from the surviving roommate, Dylan Mortensen, who was on that second floor, the same floor as Xander Knodel and Ethan Chapin. She claims that night that everything supposedly, allegedly, happened, that she saw an intruder walk by her door, covered right about up to here, halfway his face, and she saw bushy eyebrows on this intruder. Now, the defense says that they want this evidence excluded because Dylan had been out drinking and partying as any college student would. So they said that her description might not be as credible or reliable as it could be. Now, the state says it's perfectly credible. That is what she saw, that's what she says, and she's more than competent to testify to that statement. Now, the key here, though, is, Julia, that if the judge signs off and approves this in the state's favor, the state says they will bring in a new picture of Bryan Kohberger from November 13th, 2022. That is the day of the murders at 10:31 a.m., so a few hours after the murders. And you can see the picture, the selfie that Bryan Kohberger, that they pulled from his phone from that same day. And the state says it'll be up to a jury to decide if it's factual that he actually has bushy eyebrows or not.
And for Dylan, I don't see why that would be excluded, because the defense could cross-examine her about her state of mind, whether she was inebriated, but doesn't mean that something that comes out as it's happening shouldn't come in. And that brings me to the 911 call, because they've had some issues with whether or not that comes in. And Dylan is the one on that 911 call. Is that true?
Well, Dylan among a lot of other people too, because it was a few hours later that 911 call was made, and they had some friends over. In the 911 call, you can hear multiple people passing the phone around. Now, the defense wants that 911 call to not be brought into the trial because they're claiming that it's hearsay. Now, the state says that the 911 call, statements made in that 911 call, fall within the excited utterances exception. Now, the defense says not so much because, again, that call came in hours later. But Julia, at the beginning of this, we played a small portion of the beginning of that 911 call, and what I want to do now is allow the viewers to hear the rest of that 911 call to really get a feel of the atmosphere in that house when those bodies were found that morning. Let's take a listen.
And tell me exactly what's going on.
One of the roommates has passed out, and she was drunk last night, and she's not waking up.
Okay.
Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night. Yeah. Hi, this is.
And are you with the patient? Okay, I need someone to keep the phone, stop passing it around.
Can I just tell you what happened, pretty much?
What is going on currently? Is someone passed out right now?
I don't really know, but pretty much at 4 a.m.
Okay, I need to know what's going on right now if someone is passed out. Can you find that out?
Yeah, I'll come. Come on, we gotta go check. No, we have to. She's so sad. What's wrong? She's not waking up.
Okay, one moment. I'm getting help started that way.
Okay, thank you.
Now, of course, Julia, all of these motions that were brought up in this new dump of documents, they have not been ruled on by a judge yet. They're all still pretrial motions before that trial that's scheduled for August, but the judge has scheduled a hearing on April 9th to consider all of these pretrial motions.
Cody Thomas, thank you for bringing us the very latest. We do have to get to a break, but when we come back, we're going to reveal something else you need to know. Plus, coming up in the next hour on Vinnie Politan Investigates. Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, after being convicted in Idaho for 3 murders, Lori Vallow-Daybell is taking over as her own attorney in Arizona, where she's accused of conspiring with her brother Alex Cox to murder her 4th husband. Will Lori Vallow-Daybell call herself to the witness stand? We investigate.
Join Court TV's Vinnie Politan with the latest and breaking true crime stories.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinnie Politan Investigates, coming up next, only on Court TV.
We believe the glove was his.
It was a setup.
They weren't fitting it.
If it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
Trial and Error. Why did O.J. win? New episode Sunday night, 8 Eastern and Pacific, only on Court TV.
Welcome back. It's time now for us to reveal something else you need to know tonight. Today, accused child rapist and murderer Stephan Sterns made a rare appearance in a Florida courtroom. At the hearing, the attorneys argued over whether or not the public and the media should be allowed to attend his court proceedings before trial. His defense attorneys have requested that all pretrial proceedings in his sexual battery case be closed. He's got 2 cases pending. He's charged with murdering his girlfriend's 13-year-old daughter, Madeline Soto, in February of last year. And he's also charged with dozens of sex crimes related to images of Madeline found on his devices. Sterns' sexual battery case is set to begin May 5th. The murder trial scheduled for September of this year. Here's some of what Sterns' attorney argued this morning.
The media is, and likely will continue to dissect any and every aspect of this case, from the public records request through discovery that was provided via the state through the public records forum, through any motion and every motion that defense files in this case. And so defense would argue there are no alternative measures that would, other than changing venue, that would preclude or allow for Mr. Sterns to have a fair trial.
Sterns has pleaded not guilty to all the charges against him. The judge stated today in a written ruling that he will make a decision on the issue within 10 days. And we'll, of course, bring you the latest there. Before we go tonight, there's a picture I need to show you. This is Brooklyn Hackathorn. Brooklyn is 17 years old and was last seen on March 11th in Youngstown, and she's missing. If you have any information on where Brooklyn is tonight, call the Youngstown Police Department in Ohio. The number's on your screen right now. You can always call 911 or 1-800-THE-LOST. The Youngstown Police Department, 330-747-7911. Let's see if we can get Brooklyn to a safe place tonight.